about to enter a great adventure.
This is Starting from Gorilla.
Hey guys, welcome back. We are excited to be with you tonight as we record tonight. The week of Thanksgiving, big holiday week for everybody, and we're certainly excited. We know you guys are excited. We are previewing Survivor Series. We're reviewing some Full Gear. We got some other wrestling news going on we're going to cover too. We're really excited to be with you guys tonight. So, hey, I'm Mikey Cash, as always. My co-host is with the most, Big Vito. Vito, good to see you, my man. What's happening?
Mikey Cash, happy Thanksgiving week. I'm ready to rock and roll as always. Lots to talk about today. You know, we got the drama that is CM Punk. I feel like it's never ending. It's like the herpes virus, it never goes away.
This is the gift that keeps on giving. It's like in The Hangover, you know, when the dad says to me, he's like, what stays in Vegas, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas, except for herpes. That shit'll come back with you. So that's CM Punk. No matter what, that dude's coming around.
Oh man, it's never ending, and I guess it keeps things exciting, right? You know, I'm a sucker for all the good surprises, and you know, I feel like who knows where he's going to show up. You know, he pops up everywhere, and then I just like,
no idea.
I just like how everyone is like. Cody Rhodes does an interview. It shows 2 stars in the background, and they got it circled. And they're like, "Oh, that's a CM Punk's coming because he has 2 stars." And
oh my god, I've been looking at that like, what the hell is going on? I've never seen so many like tinfoil hat theories about a wrestler before than I have with this CM Punk thing. It's crazy. It's crazy.
It is, and the thing is, like, you love or hate the guy, right? We all know Sarge is not his biggest fan. I don't know if you are or not. I mean, I've seen photos, and actually I was there in person of you wearing a CM Punk shirt, even though I don't think you remember it. Yeah, you did.
Yeah. So it was a long time ago. That was a rough night, but long time ago for Mikey Cash. But yeah, I did like CM Punk for a little while. I really did. Especially in like 2011. So by the way, are we just like jumping right into this? Because I feel like this is going to be. Is this part of the Survivor Series preview?
The water's warm. Let's just jump right in.
All right, let's jump in. A little Survivor Series preview action. So, yeah, you know, when it comes to Punk, look at him right there. I actually think I own the shirt just like that.
That is the one.
I think it was almost the exact shirt. Oh, no, that's his AEW shirt, but it was the one that was pretty much exactly like that, but in WWE. But
I should have found the picture. We could have put it up on the podcast.
Serious? I know. Honestly, I really liked Punk for a long time. That pipe bomb promo really got me when I was watching wrestling in like the old not the old ECW, but that like second generation of it, the WWE ECW. Yeah. That's the first time I really had any exposure to him, but I really liked Punk for a long time. And then it's just over the years after the 2014 walkout, and then all the stuff that happened with AEW, and you know, you thought things were going to go well, and then they didn't go well. Now leads us to this speculation this week. What's going to happen on Saturday? It's going to be in Chicago. People are looking at like the background of an image, like in a corner, and saying this is an X, and that can only mean that CM Punk is going to show up. I don't know. It's weird. I actually have no clue at this point. I think WWE has probably gotten a lot better over the years of keeping a secret when they really want to keep a secret. So if it is going to happen, if he's going to show up, they're not going to tell anybody. They're not going to tell any of the dirt sheets what's going on. Because, like, why would you do that? Why would you ruin your own fucking surprise? I don't get it. I don't get it. And people online are all upset about it. Like, explain this to me, Vito.
I think we're caught in a web of it was leaked. So now they're trying to anti-leak it. And then it's like this web of what's real, what's not real, right? It's like a dream within a dream within a dream. It's the, what is that movie there?
Inception?
Inception. That's what it is.
So
is he coming?
Somebody accepted the idea that CM Punk's going to be at Survivor Series.
I don't know. I would love it. I think first of all, if we go back to the CM Punk, and if you go through every episode of recently, I feel like there's always some sort of CM Punk like Easter egg. We're always talking about CM Punk, but
maybe we're part of the conspiracy.
We could be. We could be. You know, maybe Mikey Cash is leaking all the secrets out. So is he going to show up? I don't know. I don't know, but I'm excited to find out. I mean, listen, if you don't think injecting him into WWE would make things more interesting than they already are, you're crazy. Because what made him great was at the time when he dropped that pipe bomb, it was exactly what every wrestling fan was thinking. Like, exactly. And it was like everyone was afraid to say something and do something. And then he just laid it all on the table and everyone loved it because that's what everyone was thinking. So if he shows up, I think it'll be a great pop. But I would love to see him and Seth Rollins. I would love to see him. Oh my God, him and Roman Reigns. Could you imagine? Like, what would even happen those two together?
Well, you know, fun fact, Vito, because I can't help myself. But back in 2013, he had a lot of matches with the Shield. It was him against Ambrose, him against Reigns and Rollins. So it'll actually be really interesting if that happens again. Like you said, I'm still looking forward to it because they're such different performers now than they were back in 2013. It's been 10 years at this point. So I think it'd be really cool. I'm looking forward to it. If he's there, I'm not going to hate on it. Like, whatever. He's a pain in the ass. And if any wrestling company is going to be prepared for somebody to be a prima donna pain in the ass, it's going to be WWE. They know how to deal with this shit. Like, people are not for nothing. I don't think Tony was ready for it. I think he really underestimated just how much of a shit show this guy can cause. And so the infrastructure wasn't set up in such a way that was conducive to managing a guy like that. And like it or not, these guys are in the business. They're all over. They might be at different levels. They may not be as popular as CM Punk, but there are guys that are in that business that are just like him. They're just not big enough to make a stink. So
yeah, or is stubborn though. Like he's a very stubborn guy. I don't see it hurting, and I think you're right. You know, Tony Khan is not prepared. I feel like he's not like the Vince McMahon. Like it's very loosey-goosey over there, and it shows. Whereas WWE has more of a structure. I don't think CM Punk can really come in and make that kind of locker room damage. I just don't think it'll happen.
Right. Even with Vince gone, he wouldn't be able to do it now. Just with the way it's structured. And I just want to make it clear, like when I'm saying this stuff, I'm not saying like Tony Khan's a bad guy or anything like that. I just think at the time, I think he just underestimated. Any of us could do it. You're going to underestimate that kind of shit. And it blew up. And it was unfortunate that he, ultimately Punk's still wrong. Don't get it twisted. He was still wrong for the shit that he did. And put Tony in a position where you had to let him go. I mean, that's terrible. That's terrible to put people in a position like that. And the other wrestlers, like it affected a lot of different people. And, however it happens, hopefully he's accountable to that. But, we're not going to exactly get an apology or anything if this guy comes back at Survivor Series and then the next night on Raw, he's cutting a promo. He's not going to be talking about AEW. And I mean, he probably will talk about AEW, but he's not going to be issuing an apology if I know him at all from all the years watching him on TV.
Right. Yeah, no, it'll be interesting to see. I don't even know how he would, like, the thing is, if you're going to capitalize on him coming in, I don't think a surprise coming in makes sense because you're going into his hometown. Like, you'd gain more viewers by just telling people he was coming, right? Like, it's not like he's coming in and what is he going to do? Pop in on the War Games? Like, I mean, he could. I'm not even saying that he could hop in during the match, but maybe he hops in at the end. It'll be telling on which War Game starts the show. So let's talk about some of the matches that are at Survivor Series. I believe the last Survivor Series, we at Strutting from Gorilla had a little bit of a presence there.
We did. It was actually a really fun Survivor Series show. And so while I was thinking about it, I was like, man, that Bloodline match, part of the War Games. And I thought, this is the first Survivor Series in a while that Roman isn't a part of. Nothing. He's going to be gone.
That's a good point.
A limited schedule, baby.
Yeah, I don't know. Don't love it.
Like
we're gonna go down a whole nother rabbit hole. So
yeah.
No.
So we got to get to the matches then. So
yeah.
So I mean, when I look at it, right? So you got the men's and women's War Games matches coming up, right? So it's Judgment Day and Drew McIntyre, who's kind of in like full heel mode, coming up against Jey Uso, Sami Zayn, Cody, and Seth Rollins. So, I mean, I'll be honest, like, I hate to say that I'm actually not that excited about it. Like, personally, I'm just like, all right, like, this will be fine. It'll be a good match. But other than Dominic, there's not a lot that draws me into this match. Because I'm like just looking forward to Dominic coming out and getting just absolute nuclear heat from Chicago. They're gonna boo this guy right out of the building. And I love it. He's my favorite. He's like my favorite heel right now because he doesn't have to do anything. He doesn't berate a town. He walks out and just tries to talk, and everybody boos him. They won't even let him. They just like it's like remarkable to watch somebody have that level of heat for not really doing anything. And like he just leans into it. It's great. It's great because like he's not even a heel that you like want to like. Yeah. You just want to boo him. He beat up his dad. He like took his mom by the face and he like slapped his sister. So it was like perfect piece of shit for people to just hate on. So I guess I kind of proved myself wrong. He did do a lot to earn that heat, but maybe it just goes to show how much people love Rey Mysterio. I don't know.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know what kind of adds to that, but you know, I will tell you, you said you weren't as interested in this match, but you know, if we look at the last War Games where it was the Bloodline versus the Brawling Brutes there, I'm not sure that one was better. The only difference was the storyline with Sami Zayn, right?
Yeah,
that made it intriguing for sure. But if you go pound for pound with the wrestlers that are in this match versus that one, I think it's more compelling to see this one. In my opinion, I do. I'm excited to see Cody Rhodes, you know, and it's a whole different ball game. I'm gonna go ahead and say this. This is the Vito prediction.
All right.
I think this match will be a much better match than the men's War Games last year, because last year the women stole it.
Oh, absolutely!
It wasn't even close.
They rocked the house.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the one I'm looking forward to more. But anyway, still, we could stick with the men's ones for a second because you know how much I love Finn Balor. So I'm happy to see Finn Balor in a prominent role. He's in a War Games match. You know, I don't know what's going on with him and Priest. I don't know if they'll have the Judgment Day implode or what, but I'm looking forward to it either way. I think even if it's not the match I was looking forward to the most, I still think it will be a good match. You know, they've shown nothing else that it's been rare lately that you get a complete dud of a match.
Yeah.
So you know you're going to get a level of quality there regardless. So I'm not really worried about it, even if I'm not too emotionally invested in this.
Yeah.
I don't know about you.
I mean, I think it's weird, the whole Drew McIntyre piece. I think he's just kind of like a lost puppy and they threw him in here. I'm curious to see how that works out. I mean, he was in a weird spot. Like he was a baby face, but wasn't really doing much, and he's been in a few different feuds. So hopefully this will inject some life into him. But him and Sami Zayn and Jey Uso are gonna have the War Games advantage, right? They've already done it last year.
It's true. Yeah, we'll see. So let's move on for a second to the women's War Game match. And I am very excited about that. Look at that graphic right there. Huh? Nothing but the best here at SFG. I'm really pumped at now with the addition of Becky, honestly. I mean, I'm wearing my man sweatshirt. Like, let's go, dude. Like, so pumped for that. But I'm intrigued by a few things going into this match, and this is where I find myself a little bit more emotionally invested. Is the story between Charlotte and Becky? It's pretty. I think it's pretty well known now that they have had some issues backstage, and they're not sort of, really on the same page anymore personally. So I'm interested to see. I think there's just natural intrigue when you put that kind of stuff back on the screen again. And everybody knows now, and it's been a while since they've been on screen together. So I can appreciate just the complexity of having her be a part of the team. And the other piece is, I don't know if you watched Asuka join Damage Cntrl. Did you watch that last week on SmackDown? She kind of screwed over the team and joined up with EO and Kairi. Side note, Kairi Zayn killing it since she came back. Amazing. Like,
I'm not really shocked.
I know. I'm a big women's wrestling guy, so like this, I'm way more invested in this. But they have so much history from Japan together, and now you'll notice that like Bayley's kind of the odd woman out, even though she was the one that started this group, and she's sort of slowly getting like edged out now. And I'm wondering, one, when is that face turn coming? It's going to happen at some point, maybe at the Rumble, and this is just going to plant some seeds to it. But I mean, personally, little scuttlebuds you hear on X, on Instagram, if Bayley finds herself on the outs, she might need a friend that she can bank on, a friend that is Monet in her corner, if you know what I mean. Just saying.
I do know what you're saying.
Throw it out there. I don't know. Maybe this is my own. Maybe it's my own tinfoil hat. I'll admit it. I've had it before.
That, or she needs an enforcer, one that was from AEW that's built like a brick shithouse.
That's also a good point. Who knows? A little Jade action. But they went silent on her after a heavy promotional period of having her just show up all over. So really don't know what's going to happen at Survivor Series. She could show up, do some damage control.
Rip through the cage, a little Kane-esque.
Or she does it's either going to be Kane or it's going to be Paul White picture where he rips the cage off, but Stone Cold wins anyway because he just throws him out of the ring. I'm hoping for the first one because that was way cooler.
I think that'll be a good match. I mean, both of them are going to be good. I'm a big fan of the Survivor Series War Games. I think we both are. I think it has evolved into that because it was stale. It was who wanted to watch. It's just like a 4-person. I would much rather watch a storyline that I'm invested in than just 4 random people tagging together for the sake of tagging together. Unless they do like a retro one where they do the promos beforehand. Those were the best. The Hogan and Macho Man and Ultimate Warrior promos.
I've seen some of those on Instagram recently. They're just like bananas.
They're awesome. They're great. I wish they would bring some of those back. That's what they should do. They should turn Otis into like an old school 80s wrestler where all he does is those types of promos and comes out like an 80s wrestler. Dude, that would be an awesome theme.
Listen, if look, Gallows and Anderson are on the roster, right? Do you remember when they did Southpaw Regional Wrestling, that special? And they were Chaz Too Bad and Sex Ferguson. I'm pretty sure those guys should come out at Survivor Series.
Yep.
Special guest entrance. Oh my God. All right. What the hell else? Who else is fighting on Survivor Series? Okay. Intercontinental title match. Gunther and Miz. I mean, it's Gunther. I mean, how the fuck is Miz going to win this match?
I don't know. And
I don't know.
What is the point of this match? I don't really get it.
I think it's more of a respect thing for Miz. I mean, he's been in the game for a long time. I'll give him credit. I mean, he's not like my favorite wrestler, but I used to watch The Challenge on MTV and The Real World and stuff. So watching him kind of come through that whole system and then like live out his dream, like that's a big. I don't know why I always liked that about The Miz. So I always had like respect for him for that because like there was a lot of work. And I do remember all of that terrible debut he had when he was like announcing Total Divas or something, and it was just like he just completely botched it. I mean, his career could have been over right there. So, I mean, I give him credit. I mean, he's not like my favorite, but I got respect for him. It's a good story, you know.
I got no problem with the Miz. This match just doesn't make sense for this pay-per-view. That's all I'm saying. Like, you get a guy who's probably one of the best wrestlers, technical wrestlers today against the Miz. I just maybe it's his time to shine. Maybe it'll take me by surprise, and he's looking forward to the challenge, the physicality of Gunther. Yeah. But I would rather see Bobby Lashley versus Gunther. I think that'd be a
maybe that would happen. I don't know. I've been watching Lashley make some big moves now. It looks like he's trying to put together Hurt Business 2.0, except he's kind of the MVP right now. He's like the guy putting it all together. He's talking with B-Fab. I know, but he looks amazing.
I know. He's old.
I don't think he's not in a match on Saturday, so I'm kind of hoping he comes out. Maybe he beats up Miz and he comes out and he tries to fight Gunther. You never know. And then it could be Imperium versus Hurt Business 2.0 at like the December pay-per-view.
Yeah,
I don't know. Look at us booking the territory. We have no idea what the hell we're talking about.
Yeah, hire us.
Two idiots sitting at our house.
Endeavor needs a little bit of strutting from Gorilla in their life. You know, we would bring viewership right back up.
Absolutely. So yeah, I mean, this match is probably going to be a filler match. It's just there to make Gunther look good, and Miz will get, you know, a credible showing, I bet. But I think it's just they're two styles that you wouldn't normally see together. But you know what? As I'm saying that, that's a lie too. You're gonna see plenty of different wrestler styles fighting each other. This is just not one. I think it's because Miz doesn't scream star power to you, that like, or scream like credible opponent for somebody like.
No, it's the fact that he was champion, and the time he was WWE champion, it was just awful. Like the matches he had were terrible. Remember, like it was a disqualification to end WrestleMania, and The Rock was the referee.
Yeah.
What right? Was The Rock the referee, or what? He was something.
He was the host. And
that's what it was.
And then he came back out and restarted the match, but then he rock bottomed John Cena, and so just cost John Cena the match anyway.
That's what it was.
Yeah.
That's what it was. I do something. There was something stupid. It was the worst ending ever.
I know.
Yeah. I don't know. I just am not. Miz doesn't do it for me. I have no problem with him. He can be on TV. You know, I think he's gonna be. He's like the mid-carder that wants to be a top star and just can't get there. I just don't think he's there, but he'll be his longevity. He'll be there forever. You know.
Yeah.
He's a better version of Dolph Ziggler.
Jeez, what a compliment! Wow, you're coming in hot tonight.
That's my theory, and I'm sticking to it. It's my theory, and I'm sticking to it.
All right. Well, let's move on.
Although, if I did have respect from him they had a documentary on him, and I was like, okay, like he earned his stripes. That's fine, but that doesn't mean you're going to be a top star just because you earned your stripes.
Tough words.
Yep.
Vito is a tough crowd to please, so you need to really earn your stripes around here.
You do. Okay? You do.
Speaking of earning stripes, women's world title match, Rhea Ripley versus Zoe Stark. You know, I'm kind of happy for this. Zoe Stark, I followed her down at NXT, and she was really good. She had an unfortunate injury that kept her out for a little while, and never seemed to really like bounce back once she got back in NXT. But she's found her footing here on the main roster. I think what she had going on with Trish is kind of like her lackey, for a better term, was kind of good for her to learn under that kind of tree. And while she was working with Becky, she was working with top tier talent. So this will be a good test for her. I'm not sure what it means in terms of push wise going forward, but I think these kinds of matches can be really good for somebody who's fairly new. Like, can you hang with the champion, and what kind of, can you perform under that kind of pressure?
Yeah, I agree. Honestly, you probably know a lot more about this than I do. I haven't really watched much Zoe Stark, but I can tell you I've enjoyed Rhea Ripley. I think she's been great.
She's one of the best things.
Maybe this is when Jade comes in with her baddies, you know?
It's true. It's true. That could be a real shock moment if Zoe if Stark gets beat up, and then who's going to be the replacement? Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, I'm excited to see what happens. I can't see Rhea not winning this one.
No, not at all. Not at all. I think it's all but certain that Rhea will take it.
And then is that the full card? I think
no, there's one more match. Carlito will be on a WWE pay-per-view. He's fighting Santos Escobar.
If I remember correctly, this is his first pay-per-view match with WWE since he faced Triple H in like 2007.
Oh my God. I didn't know
Think about that.
Oh my God.
Yeah.
Wow. Damn, we're getting old. Jesus. So yeah, I don't know if you've seen any of this stuff with the LWO and Rey Mysterio, and so Santos has turned on the LWO, specifically Rey Mysterio. He feels like he was like looked over, and that Rey Mysterio chose Carlito over him, which is kind of the classic kind of jealous lover kind of thing that would happen in wrestling, you know? So it's classic. It's classic pro wrestling right there. I'm jealous. I'm going to beat you up.
Yeah, so, Jim Cornette loves this storyline.
Jim Cornette loves this. This is old school right here, baby. That's what it's all about. You know? It was bad Cornette. I can't really do
that was a good Cornette. I thought it was pretty good. That was pretty good.
What do you think Vince Russo's take on this would be? Bro, there's nothing compelling about this, bro. The best thing about it is Rey Mysterio, and he's gone with an injury, bro.
there's no title on a stick match, or
no, they're actually no. It's just Rey Mysterio's crutch on a stick. Save it hanging on a pole. Oh my God! I'm excited for that one. I mean, it'll be good to see Carlito back in action on a pay-per-view. But he looks great.
Yeah, I mean, he does. I think the pay-per-view will be all right. I'm excited for it. It'll be good. I mean, I hate to say it. Obviously, the War Games are great, and the card's decent. But I think the anticipation of CM Punk is the big draw for me for this one, outside of the War Games, I guess.
I think even a lot of people probably feel the same way. That's gonna.
Yeah, I don't know. I haven't. Obviously, we do this show, and I've been an avid watcher of wrestling, but I can tell you, I don't know if it's holidays or whatever. I haven't been as engaged as I typically am, and it's not that things haven't been good. I think with Triple H in charge, I think things have been pretty decent. I think storylines have been good. I just haven't been as engaged. So I would tell you, flipping gears, is there anything on Survivor Series you wanted to touch on?
No, I think honestly, like we've kind of talked about it as much as we can. I think a big draw this show for a lot of people, myself included too, is going to be, will Punk show up? I think that makes sense. And I think it's becoming clearer in this being the second year that they're doing it, that this show is really going to be built around the 2 War Games matches, and the other matches are kind of there, not filler entirely, but largely filler.
Yeah,
like they're there so that you don't just have a back-to-back War Games match, and hopefully what they give you in between is quality, which they have shown. Like what you got in between. What was it last year? That triple threat, was it? It was Lashley, Austin Theory, and was it Rollins too? Was Rollins in that match?
Yes,
because my God, that match was fucking awesome. That was was like right before the main event. They just absolutely crushed it.
Yeah, no, that was a good match. I remember that one. That was really good.
So saying that, like, even though it's filler, doesn't mean you're not going to get some surprises. So I'm open to it. Especially if they do something like you were bringing up, like if there's a little Jade action in there, they might do that, throw you off the scent. We're like, well, maybe. If we do this big debut, we may not do that. So
yeah, maybe. I hope so. I sure hope so. But speaking of Jade and AEW, we had Full Gear.
Yeah, a little
this weekend.
Gear. Yeah.
Yep. I caught bits and pieces of it and got the highlights, and I think overall it was what you'd expect from an AEW pay-per-view. I think it's better than most, but there's so much going on. Like it's like it's like the opposite of WWE. There's just so many crazy storylines and things going on. It's like I don't know which to be excited about.
Well, I mean, you could start off with our boy MJF and Jay White. I mean, that match was kind of wild. I mean, it's what have you thought of just like the whole story even leading into that? Because it seemed like it was I would not say confusing, because I don't think it was. MJF has clearly had issues with so many people on the roster over the years, and it seems like the story that they're kind of telling with that is like, all right, so he was a prick for the first like 3 years of this promotion and has burned bridges with almost everybody. And now he's starting to grow a little bit and develop, but like he's still reaping what he sowed back then. So all these people are trying to come after this guy. What's your kind of take?
Yeah, I don't know how I feel about him being a babyface. I liked him as a heel. I did. And it's weird to see him, like, he was crying after the pay-per-view, and I can't tell if it's like overly, if he's doing it purposely. Like, he's a smart guy. He's not stupid, and he's just on a different level than other people. But
the level of the devil, man. No one's
he did have something that was really cool, and I don't know if you saw this in the outside the match during the press conference. He was talking about someone mentioned something about I forget the whole concept of it, but basically there was a wrestler when he was young. Oh, he was talking about ageism and how like people don't respect him because he's so young and he's so good. Yeah. But he made it such like a babyface thing, and I think he was being like a dick about it.
Yeah, he was.
And as he was crying, he's eating his pickles.
Yes, but like Vito is telling you everything you need to know. Of course, it's a shtick. He's like but
he had a good point though. He talked about how when he was young and he was going up in the ranks, and he drove to all these different matches and put in his dues like everybody else. Some guy, and he told him he will remain nameless, like was basically just an asshole because he had to earn his stripes. And this guy never made it anywhere, but was giving him a hard time and being a bully about it. He's like, that stuff you don't need to do that. Like, you don't need to do that. And I'm like, oh, I don't know if I agree. I agree to a point, right? Like, I don't think some of the initiation stuff they used to do back in the day, like the Bruiser Brody type stuff is needed. But at the same point, I do think, you're coming into someone else's world. You need to earn it a little bit. And I think he was doing his thing, but the way he said it was like, I was young and I was good. Like Michael Jordan, no one questioned him when he was coming up.
Right. Like the arrogance that he sees himself in the same light as Michael Jordan while also crying and eating a pickle is not lost on me. Like it's great. It's great, like comedy in a way. Like
he knows how to work the crowd, and he knows how to say things. He's great on the mic.
Really smart storytelling.
He's a good wrestler. It's just interesting to see. And I mean, it was a good match between the two of them. I missed some of it, but he got hurt, and then Adam Cole said he was going to replace him.
Adam Cole was going to replace him on like one leg. It was just ridiculous stuff.
I thought that was kind of stupid. I didn't understand the point of it.
I mean, I guess maybe they're trying to talk to just the level of friendship that they have for one another, that he cares about him so much that now he's willing to put himself on the line.
He's going to turn on him at some point.
Someone's turning on somebody here. I don't know what the fuck is going to happen. I know I've been waiting for MJF to do it, but I mean, it's possible he might just keep the thing going and just not do it.
There's no way.
Like have Adam Cole turn on him.
There's no way he doesn't.
I don't know. I mean, it's almost like he's playing everybody, because at first
that's how I feel.
He's been playing us all this whole time, because when you look back on that story going into All In with with Cole, and you know, the whole like, will he, won't he turn on him and stuff. I was like, all right, so that felt more genuine. But like now, I'm like, I think he's just fucking with us. Like he's fun. Like it just that's kind of how I feel. He's sort of like doing like his impersonation of like 80s era Hogan, where like it didn't matter what injury he had, he was going to win this match. It doesn't matter.
That's true. Yeah.
At the end of the show, MJF poses with the title. You know, that's like what's going on. I mean, even that like the tag team match at 0 Hour, like he gets Samoa Joe in there with him. Like what the hell? It's just bananas. But it's like bananas to the point where I'm kind of into it. I'm like, it's all right. Let's just see where this fucking thing goes. Like, who cares?
Yeah, well, and you're right. And he wins the 2-on-1 against the I forget the name of the tag team they have there, but he wins that. Yeah.
It's you know that right there is like the difference between the two of them, between AEW and WWE right now. Like you can have a little bit of that kind of variety within AEW.
Yeah, you can't do that in WWE.
And you could just do that kind of shit, and it's like willy-nilly. Like when it works, it works.
Yeah.
Like there's times it doesn't, and we're like, oh, nobody double check that before they did that on TV.
You go off the WWE is more like it they want to be like an NFL or an MLB, and it's like realistic. Realistic. And AEW has got more of these storylines, which is good. I like it, but sometimes there's so much of it, and it's like, dude, I can't take the Young Bucks anymore. I just can't take them.
You have a whole thing with this, but in comic book terms, I'll always say it's Marvel and DC. It's two different companies doing two different things, and it benefits us when both of them are doing it well. So WWE now is doing it well. They're whatever the way they're structuring their stories is working for them. And the way AEW is doing it right now is working.
Yeah.
The attendance thing aside, because I don't know. I don't put much stock into that shit. Like, what do you? I mean, I'm looking at what's on TV, and what I'm seeing on TV is pretty good. So
yeah, it's been enjoyable. It's good to have an alternative and something different. And there's stuff in AEW I will want to watch more than I want to watch in WWE. And I'm curious though, because they signed Will Ospreay, and I was shocked by that. I thought for sure he would have gone to WWE. So there's got to be some merit to it, unless they just open the checkbook for the guy, which I can't imagine they would have offered him much more than WWE would have.
I don't tend to think that it's about
the money on that.
Really, the money in that case. I think it's more about the flexibility and AEW's relationship with New Japan.
Okay.
So because he's finishing out a contract over there, I think. I don't know. I mean, I don't pay too much attention to that. I just like what I see kind of on Twitter, but it seems like he still has sort of a contract he's going to finish out over there. And then once he's done with it, he's like officially in AEW. But they have a good enough relationship. They do Forbidden Door every year so far. So I think he'll still be able to do some dates there. I don't know. It'll be interesting because he had some like, what did he say at the press conference about? Like he's got like his own anxiety about like being in America, which I mean, welcome to the club, right? But you know, but like, yeah, man, welcome. So
it's true.
But, so we'll kind of see how it all shakes out. But
yeah,
I was actually surprised he didn't stay with Impact, because I know he was like loving Impact, and he had a lot of good matches over there with Mike Bayley.
Yeah. I'll tell you this though, you know, moving on from MJF, the one other person that has stood out over the last, I don't know, couple months has been Swerve. I think he has been, I know we were going to talk about this match, but outside of this match, like even the way he's doing things, it's very Roman Reigns-esque if you think about it. He's coming out, he's walking slowly, like very cocky and arrogant. Like it's almost like they took that model and are doing. Now he's got the entrance and whose house, Swerve's house.
That guy's hysterical.
Great, awesome, great. But it makes them look like peasants to him. You know what I mean? And whatever he's doing is working. And I think they got the making for a good draw, because it's drawing me in. Just every time I see it, I'm like, okay, I see something with this guy.
Dude, you're so right. He's gonna be a world champion.
Yeah, definitely.
Within the year, he's going to be world champion. I wouldn't be surprised if he's the one that takes the title from MJF.
It was weird having him in this match because it was like an extreme.
Yeah, it was like an old ECW match. It was like
I mean, I loved
just an uncomfortable shit.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it was all over the top. We got
the
stapler and drinking blood and.
Yeah, when the fuck did Hangman become Gangrel?
I don't know. Hangman's.
I thought Edge and Christian were going to come out during that match and just reform the Brood.
Again, I like Hangman. I do. But there's it's like no rules with that guy. Like, meaning, like, forget about the I'm not talking about the physicality of the matches and stuff like that, but like, I don't understand his character, or it goes to the same piece as like Kenny and the Young Bucks. Like it's like they just do their own thing, and there's no, like, when Kenny was world champion, it made sense, like the stuff he was doing with them, and there was continuity to it. But it's like now it's just like you go places, you do something, you have a storyline with a concussion, then you're
not sold on him, is what you're saying.
It's the same thing. Like, he had this crazy brutal rivalry with John Moxley and then just end it, and now he does the same exact thing with Swerve. Doesn't make any sense to me. And then he's in, like, then he has the thing with I keep wanting to say New World Order, the Dark Order, where he's part of the Dark Order, then he's not, and then he's part of the trio tag team. You know, like, it's just, he's all over the place. He's all over the place, and it doesn't make any sense. And then the Young Bucks, all they do is just win. They just win everything. Like, it doesn't make any sense.
They lost.
I know, but fine. That's fine. But ultimately, all they were doing was winning and having 80-minute matches.
Tell me how you really feel. Let it out, Vito.
And then you get Kenny Omega, who I think is the best wrestler they have, arguably, and he's not doing much of anything. He was great. It was great. He got a great
run. Grandpa Jericho.
Yeah, it doesn't make any sense. Like, he should be the Roman Reigns of that promotion. It just doesn't. I don't understand it. It doesn't make any sense to me. So that's what I will tell you.
I mean, I understand what you're saying. I don't agree with all of it, but I understand with some of what you're saying.
Maybe I'm not articulating it right in the right manner. I don't know how to explain it to you.
It's something about it just isn't rubbing you the right way. And
I just need some continuity. Like, I need some basis behind what they're doing. If you do the same thing, if you have these brutal matches all the time and you do these crazy things, it's just over and over again, I lose my investment in their meaning. Like, and if you're all over the place and I don't know what's going on, why do I want to watch what you're doing? We understand with MJF what's going on. We know he's a babyface and we're all waiting for that turn, right? What the hell are we waiting for with Hangman? He's just going to get another. He had a giant beef with CM Punk, giant beef with John Moxley, giant beef. It's like, would you have a giant beef with everybody? Like, it doesn't make any sense.
You have to look in the mirror. If you're having a giant beef with everybody, is it everyone?
I just don't understand it. And then he had the thing where he had like a drinking problem, and he didn't. He's just all over the place, man.
Well, see, that one is the one thing you bring up is the exception to it, because that was an actual story that they had with him and the Young Bucks and Kenny, and that eventually kind of came around when he fought for the title against Kenny, and it was like it all sort of like that all made sense. But I get what you're saying, because it's almost like he's, you know what it is? It's like he's just sort of floating around. He's floating around, and he comes in and he has this match with this guy, and then he has this feud with this guy. He's got problems with everyone. He's a hangman.
He's bro. If that's okay,
he's a hangman.
if that's his,
like, he's looking to be the executioner, and he just gets to choose who the next victim is going to be.
I don't think that's what they're intentionally doing. I don't think that's what they're intentionally.
So you think I'm taking a creative license in my own head?
Yeah, you are.
What's going on? I'm trying to make sense of the world around me.
You are.
So
you are.
Because I don't know. will say, I think I just said it in the last episode, that up until this point, like, he wasn't really doing much for me. So I wasn't hating on him, but I was just like, nothing he's doing is really like getting me excited.
That's how I feel. That's exactly how I feel.
A couple of weeks ago, I was catching up on a lot of Dynamite over the last like week and a half, and watched the promo with him and Swerve for like the first one they had a couple of weeks ago. And like, there was fire there. I enjoyed it. I liked it. I liked what both of those guys did to each other. They went below the belt, and like, they had at it. And I think,
can we build up to that crazy match? Does it have to be that crazy match right off the bat? They've never even had a match against each other.
They did have a match against each other, and Swerve won at Wrestle Dream.
Oh, you're right. They did. No,
you have all this hate, and you're upset about.
Wrestle Dream was when Sting. No,
there was more than one match on that card. Yeah.
What?
Yeah, dude, look it up.
All right, I will.
You look it up, dude.
Maybe I'm wrong then.
You played yourself.
Yeah, well, he's just all over the place. I can't. His matches aren't memorable enough because they're all the same.
Well, I hate him anyway. He sucks.
Yeah, listen.
Right, well, you know who doesn't.
Anyways, the point is that match was. I thought it was good.
It was wild. He drank blood. They were stapling cheeks. It was some crazy shit. Like, that was Terry Funk would have been really proud. That was because that is just some wild stuff. That's like some beyond the mat independent wrestling stuff that we got to see right now.
I can't wait till Moxley tries to top that somehow.
I don't know what he's gonna do.
He'll probably eat nails or something.
Yeah, he'll do it. He'll do it. You know who? Speaking of winners here, all right. Can we talk about for a second my girl Julia Hart, right? Dude, real happy for her. New TBS champion. Nothing against Chris Statlander. She's been a great champ. Sky Blue, I like what she's doing with her character since she got the mist from the House of Black and all that.
Yep.
They've been doing a really good job telling that story with kind of Julia, Sky, and Willow Nightingale. So I don't know. I'm pumped. I want to see where this goes. Julia Hart has really turned it around. Her presentation is fantastic. I love just like the theatrics of her entrance. She like buys in, man, and I'm buying in too. I'm into it.
I like it. I like it.
Speaking of, you know my women's wrestling love. So
I know. I just let you go.
Sheeta and Timeless Tony Storm. Dude, Timeless Tony Storm is like fucking hysterical.
She's great.
It's a great bit. Whenever you're with her, like I was watching, was it Dynamite or Collision where they were trying to get into her locker room, and every time Luther opened the door, it would go black and white, and you close it and it would go back to color. And I was like, oh, that's like a funny little, it's like a little detail, but that's like story right there. It's like you're sort of like you're helping out her character and sort of the believability of that person in this world, you know?
Yeah.
I love it. I love that, man.
I also love it. You gotta the wrestler has to buy into their character before I do. If they don't, I'll never care.
You know, it's the world of pro wrestling, you know, like things that happen within it have to sort of make sense within that world. Yep. It's verisimilitude.
Yep.
Look at that up. Look up that word.
Good word.
Verisimilitude.
Good word. That's a high level word for us.
High level word right there. That's right. SAT, baby. Should we touch on our boy? Look at that. Adam Copeland looked great there.
Yep, does nothing for me. He's the Adam. He's the Adam Hangman Page of his generation.
Jeez, you're the tough sell for you, Vito. My God.
Just kidding. No, yeah, it was cool. I mean, bravo to Edge. He comes out with some great outfits. You know, you got the Brood Edge and all of that. So intense in all his matches. It's great. It's great.
Yeah. Yeah. No, I give him credit. I'm glad he's doing it. I don't mind what he's doing with Christian. Like it kind of makes sense. It's what they wanted to do when he was in WWE before. So I think he's finally getting a chance to do that now. So I'm happy for him.
Me too. I arguably think Christian is better. I think we've talked about this. I arguably do.
And I think the larger general audience is starting to see that because he showed that greatness in TNA, but nobody was watching. So nobody was watching. So at least now the greater audience is getting to see that, like, not watered down by Vince McMahon just really not liking Christian for whatever reason. Just didn't like him.
Because he's a weird dude. He's Canadian. He's like a prototypical Canadian. He's just a strange fellow.
I don't know, man. Sami Zayn is pretty strange, but he's up there.
They're all strange. They have this weird, dry humor.
They're all weird because you know why? They're all wrestlers. They're all wrestlers. They're like, you got to be a little weird.
Yeah, it's true.
To be a pro wrestler.
It's true.
So, all right. Well, I mean, any final thoughts on Full Gear? Where they go from here?
I mean, I like that. I don't want to repeat myself over and over again. I think it's great to have, whether you like or hate AEW or you like or hate WWE, it's great to have choices. If I get really frustrated because WWE is not doing something I like, great. I can go watch a storyline in AEW, right? So I'm excited they're both on there. It's plenty of wrestling to watch. And it'll be exciting to see. I'm curious to see what the future of all of these wrestling shows are. Collision, especially. Like I don't want. It's just it's fine. Me too. But
did you hear that they're gonna? I guess so. New Japan Strong is like the kind of like the American promotion for New Japan right now. Ring of Honor, and then there was, I forget what the other one was, but all three of them are about to be like unified with this World's End Continental Classic.
Oh yeah. So they're going to create another.
They're unifying these titles into one, and so I'm curious, what does that mean? Like, does this mean it's just going to be? That almost feels like a little territory thing. So now you're going to have one champion just going to bounce around between all three. I don't know. I have no idea. You won't know if it works until you do it, I guess.
Yeah, it's exciting. Hey, there is one thing we didn't talk about in AEW that has been very under the radar. Ronda Rousey just showing up at Ring of Honor.
Yeah. God, completely forgot about her.
Just like nothing.
Nothing.
She was like a huge draw for WWE when she first came in, and then just her stock went slowly downhill. And now all of a sudden she just pops up in AEW, or I'm sorry, Ring of Honor. And I
probably
guess,
show up there too at some point.
I guess it's just like a handshake deal, and who knows if she's going to come back. But that was very interesting. It was very under the radar. You know,
it could be a good thing, and the reason I say that is multi-pronged. One of them, look at Cody, right? Needed to leave WWE, went to AEW, kind of found himself, came back, and he's been bigger than ever. Look at Swerve. He gets released from WWE. He kind of had a good thing going with Hit Row, gets released, and it's been the best thing for him. Look at him. Look at what he's doing. So it's possible that could happen with Ronda too. Maybe she just needs a change of scenery. Maybe this is what she needed to begin with, to kind of like on a different level, and not so I don't think Ring of Honor is bringing in crazy amounts of eyeballs or whatever, and not that that's a bad thing. Like, maybe she just needs that. Like, you have some freedoms then with that to kind of like actually develop yourself and get comfortable. And maybe she just never got that.
I think that's a really good point, Mikey. I would agree. On a side note, I did see something that was actually hilarious. I don't know if you saw this, but at one of the UFC events, Vince McMahon was there, and he was in a cane, and he looked very fragile, and he was with the Undertaker, and someone commented and goes, "Wow, he's gone from the Undertaker to the caretaker."
That almost came out of my nose. Oh my
god! I just laughed. I thought it was a good one. Sometimes those internet trolls, they really get you.
Oh man, they're trolls for a reason, but man, so every once in a while they hit big.
That was a good one.
Oh man. Well, listen, as we're gearing up towards the end of this show today, folks, I thought maybe we could shift gears just for a second, because there is a movie coming out about the Von Erich wrestling family called The Iron Claw. It comes out December 22nd. And, for people who have been longtime listeners of the show, we actually got to interview someone who was able to help write the biography of Lance Vahan, who was Lance Von Erich, and Vinny Berry. We love him. He's a great friend of this show. We really want to encourage you guys to go back into, I think it was one of our season 1 episodes where we had Vinny on for the first time, and he talked about his book, show right here, Lance by Chance. It's a great book, unbelievable story about how Lance Von Erich was sort of discovered and brought into this wrestling business, and just the stories from Lance himself, even beyond his time in World Class Championship Wrestling, I think are really worth the read. And Vinny is just a super guy, like one of the nicest guys you'll ever meet. He's been interviewing people all over in the wrestling business, and he's just an unbelievably great dude. So try to support him. Go to his website, wrestleville.com. You can get this book. They have signed and unsigned copies. I was able to luck out and get a signed one, so you guys should check it out.
Yeah, and to go off of that, I think when you see this, so what's interesting is Lance Von Erich was one of the only guys who was not a true Von Erich brother, and they put him in there because he looked very similar, and the Von Erichs didn't really want that, and so he's kind of an outcast. Like and so they may mention him. I don't know how much they'll get into it in that movie because it's about the Von Erichs, and they may mention him, but there's a whole nother story behind it and how this guy got put into that role and the story behind it. Very interesting. Before our time, so we were educated a good amount. If you listen to that episode, you'll hear us asking a lot of questions about it, and I've learned a lot about it and didn't even watch it at that time because I don't even know if I was alive at that point. So
it's a great history lesson.
It really is, and it's a weird story about the Von Erichs, and they were like a really big wrestling family in the South, and all these tragic events happened to them, and very interesting stuff. I think it'll be a pretty good movie, and I'm interested in it. But yeah, definitely go back and give it a listen, and a big shout out to Vinny Berry, who's part of WrestleVille.com. You can check it out there. He has a couple other books as well. And he does a really great job of interviewing, up and coming wrestlers that, most of them you might know today. So,
yeah, absolutely. So you guys should check it out. I think that's all for us tonight, folks. Thank you guys for listening. Thank you guys for watching. Please subscribe, follow us, check out the website. We update the podcast feed through there. You can find articles that we write, and we're really looking forward to what we got coming down the pike for you guys. So enjoy Survivor Series, enjoy your Thanksgiving, and until next time, keep on strutting, jabronis.